The relationship between Vietnam and China from April 30th, 1975 to the present has gone through many ups and downs, with periods of deep tension, but also periods of peace and cooperation. Below are the main milestones and notable developments in the relationship between the two countries. 1. Period 1975 to 1979. Tense relations and border conflicts. After April 30th, 1975, when Vietnam was unified, the relationship between Vietnam and China began to be tense. The main reason was political disagreement, especially related to Vietnam's policy towards the Soviet Union and China's support for the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia. In 1978, Vietnam decided to attack the Khmer Rouge to protect the southwestern border, which caused the relationship between Vietnam and China to continue to deteriorate. In 1979, the conflict reached its climax when China launched a border war with Vietnam in February. China launched a short but fierce attack, known as the 1979 Sino-Vietnamese Border War, with the aim of teaching Vietnam a lesson. After more than a month, China withdrew its troops, but the conflict continued in the border area for many years afterwards. 2. 1980 to 1990. Hostility and frozen relations. During the 1980s, relations between Vietnam and China were hostile. China imposed an embargo and severed diplomatic relations with Vietnam. Both countries maintained a degree of military tension along the border and at sea. However, Vietnam focused on internal stability and resolving issues with Cambodia. 3. Period 1991 to 1999. Easing and normalizing relations. In 1991, after Vietnam withdrew its troops from Cambodia and ended its interference in the country's internal affairs, the two sides began to improve relations. The summit between General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam, Du Muoi, and President of China Jiang Zemin in November 1991 marked the normalization of relations between the two countries. Economic relations began to develop again, and negotiations on borders and territories were initiated. The two countries signed a series of cooperation agreements on trade, investment, and science and technology. 4. Period 2000 to 2010. Cooperation, but tensions persisted. Relations between the two countries continued to improve, especially in the economic field. China gradually became Vietnam's largest trading partner. However, tensions persisted, especially over disputes in the East Sea. In 2002, China and Vietnam signed the Agreement on Fisheries Cooperation in the Gulf of Tonkin, a step forward in resolving maritime border disputes. However, China's construction of infrastructure and exploitation of resources in disputed areas in the East Sea has increased tensions. Vietnam strongly opposes these activities of China. 5. Period 2011 to 2020. Increasing tensions in the East Sea. Since 2011, the East Sea has become the focus of tensions between Vietnam and China. China has increased its militarization and construction activities on disputed islands. In 2014, the Haiyang Shiu 981 drilling rig illegally placed by China in Vietnam's exclusive economic zone caused a wave of fierce protests from Vietnam, leading to a series of protests and diplomatic conflicts. However, in parallel with tensions at sea, the two sides have maintained bilateral dialogue channels and continued economic cooperation. 6. 2021 to present. Continued cooperation and dialogue. The relationship between the two countries is currently focused on maintaining stability and developing economic cooperation. China remains Vietnam's largest trading partner, while Vietnam is one of the Southeast Asian countries with the largest trade turnover with China. Politically, the two countries regularly exchange high-level visits and participate in international forums to resolve common issues. However, the East Sea issue continues to be the main source of tension.